Everybody, welcome back to Orchids Candidly. Today's video we're taking a look at none other than our Catasetinae type orchids. So I am actually fairly new to the Catasetinae type of orchid. I've only been growing Catasetinums and Catasetinae type orchids for about, I'm going to say like 6 months. Yeah, 6 months, I think, is probably a generous estimate of how long I've been growing them. I've only ever bloomed 2, both actually in fairly the same season. This is one that bloomed for me here, and then another one is in my office. I've had pictures of both of them that have been posted to the Orchids Candidly Instagram. So the reason I didn't really get into Catasetinae type orchids was the concept of not doing anything for your plant for months essentially really shocked me and like kind of caught me off guard, because here I am with like phals and cattleyas that like have, at least in my experience, like a very routine method of care. Like I water them, I give them nutrients, I check to make sure they're not super soaked and things like that. And so just the idea of a neglectful orchid when I first started growing orchids didn't really sit well with me. And then my collection grew and it grew and it grew. And so the idea that there were some orchids that I could do a little bit less work for, in the sense of it having a dormancy and not requiring the kind of nutrients and water and light that it needs when it's in its, we'll just call it a beast mode season. It started to appeal to me once my collection kind of hit the 100 orchid threshold. And then once it hit 150, etc., etc., we're not going to talk exact numbers here. But when my collection started to grow and grow and grow, then my desire to own Catasetinae type orchids then began to grow. So I hope I didn't shoot myself in the foot, because this is my first winter with them, and coming up soon will be my first spring and first summer, and then hopefully first bloom for a lot of these. So what you're seeing here is 12 that have been with me since I want to say around September. And I'll show you a couple more. There's one other one from that batch, but it had some little like I saw something moving in the moss, and so I just kind of separated and isolated it from the others, and it never quite made it back over here. So I'll show you those, and I'll also show you the ones that I most recently picked up from Sunset Valley during their dormant, I think Catasetinum sale. I forget what they called it, but I will show you that also. And so I think, oh yeah, so it'll be my first summer, first spring with these orchids, and so we'll see how I do, and hopefully I didn't shoot myself in the foot in the sense that now I have to water 20-something orchids all the time. My Millennium Magic Witchcraft, oh my goodness, that one is such a beast and is like light years ahead of all the ones that I'm going to show you today. I don't even think that one really had a dormancy, but so be it. Anyway, so let's stop with the chit chat and focus on the update. So I think out of these, this one is obviously the one that has progressed the most in terms of the development of the new growth. It's already leafed out. Now the root part of it, right, as you can see, I only ever see like, yeah, that one root here. And I'm not entirely certain that it's coming from this new growth. It looks more like it's something from this one here. So I've started not like any kind of regular water, like this is still like crunchy dry, but I put a little bit of water at the bottom of this, and I know that they're packing peanuts at the bottom because that's what Fred Clark does, but I feel like maybe a little bit of moisture wouldn't kill it, especially for the fact that it is leafing out. But I probably won't fully start watering this plant for quite some time. This is the Signotes Spotted Hornet. This one here is a Fred Clark Yara After Dark. This, I think, is one of the parents or something with the Fred Clark After Dark SVO Black Pearl. And so at some point he found some additional ones and sold them, and this one's kind of doing nothing. It's kind of probably the most uneventful of the bunch. So that is the Fred Clarkiara After Dark. Now back here we have, this one I think is a Mermotes. Let's see. I think that's what it was. Yeah. So this is, I got this one because of the name, okay? So this is called Midnight Hooker Hot Lips by Mark Mills Hot Lips. And so I'm like, okay, hooker, hot lips. Might see where we're going here. And this one is, you know, getting its new growth underway. It actually just recently kind of dropped its leaves. Oh, wow. It shrunk quite a bit. Yeah, quite a bit. And these things are so sharp. Be careful with them. I have definitely learned that lesson. Here we have, what are you? I think this is Clowesia Pierre Curie Flamingo Spots by Orchid Glade Davy Ranchies. So this one is also, where are you? Finally starting to put out its new growth, which is awesome. Really excited about this one. What are you? This one's actually bloomed for me, and I have a picture on the Instagram. But this is the Anne Catherine Burger by Kevin Clark SVO. And in terms of new growth development, I don't see much of anything happening. So yeah, we'll see. Here we have the Anne Catherine Burger by Jean E. Monnier, Big and Bold. This one is putting out a new growth of its own. I don't think that new growth has started producing any roots as of yet, so we'll just keep an eye out for that one. Now, back here, let's see. Yeah, we'll start back here. So this is my Rebecca Northern Grapefruit Pink by Cleberanium. And so I'm excited for this one because I really love anything kind of Rebecca Northern Grapefruit Pink. I love the frilly soft pink look of the flowers, and the Cleberanium is a species orchid, and so we'll see how it looks. But yeah, it's got a new growth that is kind of leaning this way towards the light, which kind of all of them, if you look, are growing towards the light. And so this one's doing pretty good. Up here we have the, I guess this one's also a species. This is Orchids. You guys can kind of read it since I clearly can't pronounce it. But we'll see how this one's doing. This is actually fairly recent, like in the last like week and a half or 2 weeks, because it wasn't doing much of anything. I think at the time I filmed a live Instagram video for the update on these. Here we have a Desert Tenor Freckled by Orchid Glade David Ranchies. I kid you not, last year I feel like almost, I don't know, I wouldn't say 90%, but a lot of the orchids, that one, they just, I think he just had a lot of the Orchid Glade David Ranchies, because I feel like most of the hybrids that came out were hybrids of that. So anyway, this one is the Desert Tenor Freckled by Orchid Glade David Ranchies. And we have this new growth here. And I felt like at some point I saw, there you go. So I'm hoping that these two actually make it together. We shall see, but I feel like they're super close, kind of too close for comfort. And also it makes me kind of regret not repotting this orchid, because just the size of this bulb, if this one grows, it'll probably be like, you know, hitting the corner of the pot, and then this one kind of the same, but also together. So we'll see, and hopefully both of those new growths make it, because that just means it will grow a lot faster in the sense of the size of the plant. Back here we have a Marin Gleason, which is the Warsawetzii by Martha Clark. It's also putting out a new growth. Nothing really super exciting there. Back there we have the, the Gems Dragon Tears by Orchid Glade David Ranchies. I wasn't kidding when I said that. So this one is definitely starting to put out roots. I have not begun to water it, but I think it's doing pretty good, and this is still quite plump. Here we have the Grace Done by, you guessed it, Orchid Glade David Ranchies, and it is starting to begin leafing out. Also, it's putting out roots. It is definitely a bit shriveled, but it doesn't look bad from whatever my understanding of looking bad is. So I think that pretty much sums up these, and let's move on to another section. Okay, so I went ahead and grabbed the one that we were talking about me further isolating, and it is putting out a new growth. Now, this one is in a place where it doesn't get quite as much light as these. And so when you look at the new growth, it's obviously a lighter kind of yellow, light green, and even like those roots that are trying to push out there don't really look like they're getting a lot of sun, because they're not. And so I'll probably move this one into a place where it can get a bit more sunlight. It's kind of growing crooked, trying to reach whatever light it actually could. This is the Jumbo Cooper by the Orchids. Apparently I liked that orchid too. So yeah, that's that one, and then we'll move on to the newer acquisitions. Okay, and last but not least, these are my newer acquisitions. So here we have the Mormides Painted Desert by the Spitzy SVO Gold, and this one is putting out a new growth, so which I'm not responsible for any of these. Pretty much they all came with some kind of new growth on it, which is awesome. So this one is the Catasetinae Chuck Taylor by the Denticulatum, which I believe I saw PYC Orchids in his video, and I think his actually bloomed. Got a little bit of what looks like kind of dieback there, but this one is putting out a new growth, and I'm interested in trying out slow release fertilizer for these to make sure that they grow to actually their full potential. This one is the oh my goodness, the names. Okay, so this is the Schmididianum. Nope. That right here by Orchid Glade JTM, which is Jamie's Torch at Midnight, I believe. That's what the website said. It's beginning to leaf out. It's also putting out some roots. They look a bit thin, but they're roots nonetheless. I have obviously not started repotting this because I didn't even put them in a container. Here we have the Exotic Treat Orange by Nitty Gritty SPO Ripper. And so this one also is starting to put out a new growth, starting to leaf out. I don't see any new roots really poking out, but that doesn't mean it's not doing anything. They could just be growing directly into the pot. I think this one is the last one, which this one is a primary hybrid. This is the Gladiatorium by Fimbriatum. I don't know, Fimbriatum? I don't know. Whatever. So anyway, this one also is putting out a new growth that's starting to begin to leaf out. It's also putting out some roots. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I still have not begun to water. I think the ones that do this are so interesting. Yeah, look at that. So I don't know, I'm really interested and exciting. I wanted to pot these up in semi-hydro, but I feel like moss might be better for them, at least for this first year, so that I can transition with them. But the fact that they have been in moss, I think, means that they'll do decently in the semi-hydroponics, just because there's also a lot of moisture. So that's pretty much it for this update. So we will check on them probably again over the next few weeks and or months to see kind of where they go and where they're growing. I'm not sure that this setup will work because it's only but so tall. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, my Millennium Magic, it just like took on or came out of dormancy with such an aggression, and it's like leafing out and just like blowing me away. And just the size of the leaves, I don't think that this provides quite enough space for them. So I might move them to this top shelf where the cattleyas are and just kind of weigh down their pots, their decorative pots or glass pots with some river rock, and see how that does. So I'm very hopeful, and we will see. So Anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Bye.